Welcome back, traders. In this video, we're going to be talking about news. This is very, very important because news causes volatility. And a lot of the times, this is the reason why a lot of people blow accounts. And when I say blow accounts, it means that they literally lose all their money. So your risk management should be really, really good on a day-to-day basis, but even better when it comes to news. Remember this, more volatility equals more risk, but also could potentially lead to more reward. So just be careful. So when it comes to news, the major one that I use is Forex Factory. This is because it gives a lot of data that involves currencies and just the US dollar in general. And I heavily trade stuff that involves the US dollar, like GBP USD and gold. It's really, really helpful. So high impact news is going to be things like something called FOMC, non-farm payroll, which happens every Friday of each month, the US Consumer Index, US GDP, political speeches, so anytime someone in high power talks, and then banker speeches. There is a reason why in 2025 people call it the Trump markets, because Trump is really, really causing volatility in the markets and kind of indecision a lot of the times. The orange folder will cause news, but it won't be as high impact as the red. It will cause some volatility, but not as much. And then yellow is just really low impact. It won't really cause anything. It's kind of like trading at current market conditions, okay? Nothing crazy is going to happen. And then anytime you see a silver folder on Forex Factory, that is just a bank holiday. Anytime there's a bank holiday, usually the markets move even slower. Things that you want to focus on before I go on to Forex Factory is the actual number, meaning the number released, the forecast number, meaning the number predicted, and the previous. This is talking about last month's numbers, okay? So as far as high impact news, when you look at it and when you read news, even high impact, medium impact, low impact, a lot of the times, if the actual number is larger than the forecast, it's good for that currency or whatever you're looking at. So price will usually rise. If the actual number is smaller than forecast, typically it's going to be bad. So price usually goes down. So I want you guys to remember in the beginning, if you guys watched my intro to markets video where I had a quote currency and I had a base currency. The quote currency and the base currency is very, very important to think about when you see these high impact news or even news in general. And I want to dive into this a little bit more about if the actual number is larger than forecast, if the actual number is smaller, because sometimes it tweaks depending on the type of news or what news is being presented. Back to talking about the major high impact news, because remember, high impact news means volatility. The four important ones that you need to be paying attention to is NFP, non-farm payroll, okay, so unemployment rate, CPI, and GDP, okay? Remember, the non-farm payroll is going to happen the first Friday of every month at around 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? It basically shows statistics and releases numbers for new job creations in the United States. So if you trade anything USD, it's going to impact it's going to be impacted 100%. Okay, so be sure you are cautious and your risk management, if you are trading for that day, is very, very good. When it comes to NFP, there are three parts. So the NFP numbers show how many new jobs been created and lost, the unemployment rate, which is the overall unemployment rate, and the wages, so how much the workers are earning on average. Okay, so when it comes to NFP, when the number is the actual number is higher than forecast, okay, that is good. It shows there's strong job growth. But for unemployment rate, when the actual number is lower than forecast, then that's even better too, because that means there's a strong economy. If the actual number is lower than the forecasted number, then that means that there's a stronger economy. Whereas CPI, so inflation, higher than forecast is going to be good because there's a stronger currency. And then GDP, so gross domestic index, a higher than forecast shows economic growth. Because what GDP represents, it measures the total value of goods and services produced in a country. Okay, so that means if we're higher than forecast, so the actual number is higher than forecast, there's possibility of economic growth. Before I show you how Forex Factory looks, I want to show you guys some examples so you guys can interpret the data even better. So remember, the top currency or the top asset is going to be that quote currency. Let's just say the CPI for the UK is being released and they predicted that it's going to be 3%. But when it's actually released, so the actual number, it ends up being 2.5%. So 0.5% lower than what they predicted. What would happen to GBP USD? Okay, remember, the GBP is the quote currency. It will drive price, meaning if price is strong, or if GBP is strong, price will go up. If GBP is weak, price will usually go down, meaning the US dollar is probably going to be stronger. If they thought it was going to be 3% for inflation for CPI, but it's 2.5%, that's not good for GBP. That is not good for the currency because it's lower than the forecasted amount. It's not showing a stronger currency, right? Because we define this as usually CPI, when it's higher than forecast, it's usually good because it's stronger for that currency. Meaning it's, for this case, it's going to weaken GBP. So what does that mean? The US dollar is probably going to be stronger than the GBP currency at that time. So what's going to happen is GBP is going to sell. GBP USD will sell because of that news. So a lot of people, when they, look at fundamentals, meaning we're talking news and trade news, they will look at this type of data because it can help dictate price movement and market flow. So because of that, we're going to see sell pressure in GBP USD. This might be a strong bearish candle. This can be a lot of sell pressure, so multiple candles representing bearish structure for a period of time during that news event, or it could be other factors. But just know, because the number was lower than what the forecasted amount was, the predicted amount, the GBP pair or currency is going to be weaker, causing a bunch of sell pressure. So I really hope that makes sense. If you have to watch that a couple of times to really wrap your head around it, then do so. If we had gold and the forecast for NFP was 150K, but the number released, so the actual number ends up being 180K, that is higher than expected. That is higher than predicted. So because it's higher than predicted, and remember when we said that higher than forecast, so higher than forecast can also be termed as predicted, higher than predicted, that's good. That shows strong job growth. Okay. So if the US dollar is showing that, okay, you know what, we're actually strong, because instead of predicting it was 150K, it's released to be 180K, the US dollar is strong. So if this is stronger, guys, if this base currency is strong, what do you think is going to happen to this quote currency? This is stronger than this. So what do you think is going to happen? Remember, we're basing it off of XAU. That means gold is going to what? Weaken. And what does that mean? Price most likely will sell down, right? Because remember, we're basing it off of this. Remember, if you guys watch my intro to the markets, you guys know that I like to think about this as, okay, the top currency or asset is a weightlifter, okay? It's the person who's so strong, who's just a beast in the gym. Whereas the US dollar, or the base currency, is a person who doesn't work out a lot. They don't move their body. They're not as strong. So usually if this quote currency is strong, we're going to keep going up, going up, going up, right? We're going to keep pushing up. But let's just say this person on this US dollar who, decided, okay, maybe let me hit the gym. Okay, let me hit the gym just before NFP so I can be stronger, so I can drive price down. So this person starts hitting the gym and becomes stronger than this person here. What do you think is going to happen? This person's stronger, this person's weaker. It's an arm wrestle, let's just say. This person is going to drop. So overall, this currency is going to sell down. Okay, that means gold might drop. So this is what I mean by using economic data, by using fundamental analysis, aka all the economic data, all this that I'm talking about, to help with your trading. This is how you can use it, because it can help predict where the markets might be headed next, okay? So when you compare this with technical analysis, and again, technical analysis is marking your charts, it can become a powerful combo. Not everyone likes to think about news, but if you want to use news in your trading, you can 120% do so. Let's go on to Forex Factory so we can kind of analyze some things together, and I can show you how it really looks. All right, so this is how Forex Factory looks. So when you go onto the website, you want to go under calendar because it will tell you the recent news that's happening. You can also look at other stuff, so read articles about news events that are happening, just market data in general. Okay, so like I said, the orange is going to be medium impact, yellow is low impact. Okay, so let's just say for this, on Tuesday, July 29th, we have news at 10 a.m. Okay, that's gonna be about the job openings. Okay, you can click on it and you can actually read it. Like you can read some previous data. You can see the previous data that happened. You can read, more articles. You can just look at it, and it actually tells you actual greater than forecast is good for currency, meaning it's good for the US dollar, right? So let's just look at this. They forecasted it to be 7.51 for job openings. We want a lot of jobs, no? We want job openings. We want to put back into the economy, right? But it ended up being 7.44, right? So that means the actual is lower than the forecast or the predicted amount. That's not good for currency. And it also says the usual effect right here. It says that here. That's not good for currency. That means the US dollar will weaken. So anything that trades with the US dollar, you want to think about that. So for example, like gold, because this is weak now, we might see some buy pressure in gold for a period of time because of that, because the US dollar isn't as strong, right? So that's what I mean by using news to help if you're trading. And you can look at more events, and we have, orange events. So we have forecast, which is up here. When we look at advanced GDP, we can see that it was forecasted to be 2.5%, but it ended up being 3%, which is great. So that's good for currency. And remember, you can read this here. Actual greater than the forecast is good for currency. So this is actually how you can use data in your trading to help you become a better trader and to help you predict certain areas where price might potentially go based off of news. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in my next video.